Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 47 of the NordCast. It is Wednesday, March 6th, 2024. I am your host here, Nordic97, not wearing a hat, which is a very rare occurrence for me on a podcast. Joining over Jack. How we doing, Jack?
Doing good.
Good to hear. So, Carter's not joining us today. He has stuff going on, busy with exams and just all that stress, so we're going to give him the night off, and the NordCast is going to talk about a bunch of trades that have happened. Me and Jack have a very busy amount of trades. There were 5 trades today, which makes a lot of sense considering the fact that we have not seen a whole lot of trades heading up until the trade deadline. Now, obviously, we've seen plenty, but for sure, you got to think that more are going to come, and we're going to miss some before our next episode next week. So, we'll get straight into it here. Starting off with the Vladimir Tarasenko trade. The Ottawa Senators have traded Vladimir Tarasenko with 50% salary retained over to the Florida Panthers. In exchange, the Senators acquired a 2024 conditional 4th-round pick, which if the Panthers win a cup, it becomes a 3rd, and then a 2025 3rd-round pick. So, Jack, what are your initial thoughts on this trade?
I like it a lot for Florida. Obviously, they came up just short last year to Vegas. But yeah, I like it a lot for Florida. Ottawa, not so much, but I think it's good that they're getting some draft picks back, and I think they're Florida Panther fans now, so that turns into a 3rd-rounder. But yeah, I like it a lot for Florida. A lot of star power on that team now, and I think that's something that they need to kind of help out Barkov and the rest of the guys, and Reinhart too. He's having a hell of a season. So, yeah, I like it a lot for Florida.
Yeah, I feel like Florida made out very well. They took advantage of a situation where Tarasenko said that he wanted to get traded to Florida, and Florida said, well, we don't have a lot of assets, and Tarasenko only wants to go here, so your hands are kind of tied. So they more or less, I guess, fleeced the Ottawa Senators, I guess, when you look at it. But Ottawa had their hands tied. They got what they could have. And Florida virtually had no assets. They didn't have a 1st-round pick. They don't have a whole lot of prospects. So Ottawa was kind of on a disadvantage there. So if you had to give a grade overall to these trades for each team, what would you give?
I think I did in the group chat earlier. I think I did A- Florida and D- Ottawa.
I believe that's what you did, but I'm putting it on my journal. So I did ask you that earlier. We were planning on actually doing a graphic, not on before the podcast episode, but then 50 million other trades happened. So we'll move into the Sean Walker trade now. The Philadelphia Flyers have traded defenseman Sean Walker and a 2026 5th-round pick over to the Colorado Avalanche. In exchange, the Flyers acquired a 2025 1st-round pick, which is top 10 protected, and then forward Ryan Johansson, who they placed on waivers. So, Jack, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I like it for both teams. It's one of those, I think, kind of win-wins. But yeah, I mean, not really much to it. Good for both sides.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado made it very well here. They got a solid puck-moving defenseman in Sean Walker. Philadelphia, they lived up to the expectation that was originally. We saw a lot of rumors that, they were going to get a 1st-round pick, and Philadelphia did get one. And then Ryan Johansson, they're just building up the Phantoms, to be honest, putting him down below. It's kind of weird to think about because you see Evgeny Kuznetsov get sent down to the Hershey Bears a few days ago, and now you see Ryan Johansson get sent down. It's like some of the old guard, some of the players in the NHL in the 2010s that were doing really well are now in the minors. It's really weird to think. I know there's a few other examples too, like Jack Campbell's another one as well. It's just kind of weird to think when you think about it.
Yeah.
If you had to give each team a grade on what you thought their trade was, what would you give them?
I would give Colorado probably a B- and Philadelphia a B+.
Okay, we'll move on then to the 3rd trade. It was a 3-team trade. The Edmonton Oilers acquired forward Adam Henrique with 75% retained, forward Sam Carrick with 50% retained, a 2024 7th-round pick, and the rights to Ty Taylor from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for a 2024 1st-round pick and a conditional 2025 5th, which will become a 4th if Edmonton wins the Cup. and the Tampa Bay Lightning are the third team that was involved in this trade. They acquired a 2026 conditional fourth. So I'll just ask you what your thoughts are on Edmonton, the Anaheim side, because more or less Tampa Bay is just the third team retaining. There's not a whole lot to it. So what are your initial thoughts on this trade?
Yeah. I think it's huge for Anaheim's future, getting a first. I know it'll be probably a late round first, probably in the 20s. But I also like it a lot for Edmonton. I think this is the year they should absolutely go all in. Um, Obviously, they had a slow start this season, but they went on that huge win streak, and I think everyone knows what they're capable of with two top 5 players on their team, and just building around them at this deadline is going to be huge for them.
Yeah, for sure. I think that both teams made out very well in this trade. The Oilers get a solid third line center in Adam Henrique, who even though is older and his contract isn't too great, they are 75% retained on him. And as well as that too, Henrique's had pretty good numbers with a pretty bad team. And as you said, Anaheim adding another first round pick to an already stacked prospect pool. Just unbelievable what the Ducks are building there in Anaheim. I cannot wait until a few years down the road when this team is dominant with Cutter Gauthier, Trevor Zegras, Mason McTavish. Man, this team's going to be fun. But they get another first-round pick to add to that. So overall, if you had to give trade grades to Edmonton and Anaheim, what would you give them?
I think I would do an A- for both teams.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I agree with that. So we'll move into the next trade then. A pretty surprising one-for-one deal, I'd say. It kind of came out of nowhere. Colorado Avalanche acquired forward Casey Middlestat from the Buffalo Sabres. In exchange, the Sabres acquired defenseman Bowen Byram. So, Jack, what are your thoughts on this deal?
Yeah, definitely caught me off guard. I'm very surprised that Colorado moved on from Byram. But at the same time, I'm very surprised that Buffalo moved on from Middlestat. I think there were two players, I don't know, not really like thriving where they were, but definitely playing well. So yeah, I think both players are very good, and yeah, they'll help out their new teams. I like it a little more for Buffalo acquiring Byram because he's still young and a lot of potential still. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think both sides actually kind of did solid here. The biggest thing that Buffalo needed was defense. That's like the biggest thing that you look at when you look at the Sabres. And as it goes for Casey Middlestat on the Avalanche, I mean, he's been a solid scorer this year for Buffalo, their leading guy. So definitely going to be a good acquisition there. If you had to give grades for these trades, what would you give?
Colorado, I would go C plus, and Buffalo, I'd go A minus.
Okay, so we'll move into, I guess, the final trade. There is a trade that's developing, but I don't think we're going to have that before the end of this episode. The New York Rangers acquired forward Alex Wennberg with 50% salary retained from the Seattle Kraken. In exchange, the Kraken acquired a 2024 second and a 2025 fourth. Jack, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Sorry, can you say it again?
The Rangers acquired Wennberg with 50% retained from the Kraken for a second and a fourth.
Yeah, Rangers, I like it a lot. That's a good depth piece. You know, probably be on second or third line. You can put the puck in the back of the net. As simple as that. And yeah, I like Seattle getting the picks back. I think second and third rounders, pretty good price for Wennberg. So yeah, I'd like it for both sides.
Okay. If you had to give a grade for this trade, what would you give it?
Rangers, I'd say B, and Seattle, I'd say A.
Okay. All right. So that's more or less all the trades. There wasn't a whole lot else. I mean, Noah Hannafin has apparently been traded to Vegas, but there's no return on it. There's going to be a third team that's retaining.
Yeah.
We probably will make a bonus episode on that, which will probably be just me because these guys are not busy. These guys are not available during the day to just come out and make a podcast, and obviously they're an hour behind me. But I probably will make an episode on that tomorrow, depending on what exactly happens. But we're at kind of an unfortunate spot here. A lot of us are really busy, Carter and Jack especially, ahead of this trade deadline. So we really haven't had time to make many like deadline preview type stuff. So we didn't get to like talk about potential destinations for any of the players. It sucks, but I mean it's just how it was this year. Jackson is senior year, Carter's in his freshman year of college. So it's just kind of really busy for us right now.
Yeah.
But definitely in the next season and heading into the playoffs, we'll be much more prepared. Our schedules will seem to free up for a little bit, so we'll start posting more consistent episodes. So, yeah. One more thing I do want to talk about before we get into the meat and potatoes and the fun games that I have for Jack. The New Jersey Devils fired Lindy Ruff on Monday. Now, I was going to make a bonus episode on this, but then I got tied up with high school hockey playoffs and obviously the trades that happened today that I didn't really have time. So I'll let Jack go first. What are your thoughts on Lindy Ruff being fired as the head coach of the Devils and the Devils just overall underperforming season?
Yeah, I don't like that they fired him. Lindy Ruff has a great reputation. He's been a great coach, and I think he single-handedly turned the Devils around. Obviously, they had brought in some good young guys, but I think his coaching is the reason why they were so good last year. He beat the Rangers in the first round. And, yeah, I don't like that the Devils did this. I think it's not just the coaching. It has a lot to do with the players and the front office as well. So I think they should have kept him personally, but it is what it is.
I think a lot of it lies on goaltending. I think I've said that way too many times in videos. I think maybe some of it lies on Lindy Ruff. Like a lot of the things that he said in the media to the press, I haven't fully agreed with, just being honest. But I do think that it's not entirely his fault, even though, like it's easier to fire the coach than it is to trade off players or trade for players. That's the biggest example I can give you right now. Because when you look at it, there's been plenty of trades that have happened today, and no goalie's gone to the Devils. So, and we haven't really heard much of that today. So, I don't know if we'll hear stuff about that tomorrow. Maybe when this episode uploads, we'll know more. But obviously, as of right now, that's kind of what we have to go off of. So, it's unfortunate, but Lindy Ruff's the easiest one to get fired, so he's the one to go. Jack, do you think that whether they make an acquisition for a goalie or not, do you think the Devils could make a potential push to the playoffs? Now, they're 2-6 in their last 8 games. They have 64 points. They are about 8 points out from the Flyers for that second place spot.
Yeah, 8 points is a lot. Do they have any games at hand or no?
They have 1 game in hand on the Flyers. They have 1 game in hand on the Lightning and two games in hand on the Red Wings.
I think they definitely could make a run, but it would have to start in their next game.
Yeah, it would have to start now, virtually.
Yeah,
so
it would have to start now. Put a couple wins together. But yeah, I think they could, but do I think they will? No.
Yeah, just ideally, it just is not in the cards for the Sabres, for the Devils to really do anything as of right now. One more thing I want to go over. I know I keep adding things on, but the Canucks and the Bruins and the Penguins have reportedly been thinking about a 3-way swap. So bear with me here. The Canucks have been exploring flipping Elias Lindholm to the Boston Bruins in part of a way of acquiring Jake Gensel. Now, we've heard this through many sources. There's nothing concrete on this, and there are still a lot of moving parts. The Pens hope to have a trade in place for Gensel by Friday, so tomorrow when you're listening to this podcast. The asking price, although it is flexible when it comes to getting Gensel, is a first, a young roster player, and prospects. That's kind of what the Penguins are looking for right now. So this 3-way deal could be one of the biggest trades we've seen of decade so far, of the deadline for sure. So, Jack, if this happened, what would your thoughts be?
Yeah, I don't know. Vancouver just got they're talking about trading Backlund. But yeah, they literally just got him, and he's been playing well for them. So just flip him again like that. I don't know. I wouldn't do it if I were the Canucks. I would be content with the roster they have right now, just how they've been performing. So yeah.
Here's my question though: would you rather Elias Lindholm or would you rather Jake Gensel?
Probably Gensel, but I know he's had a little bit of injury problems this year, and Lindholm has played well with the Canucks for the short time he's been there, but I would still probably slightly go Gensel.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I see the argument of going out and, getting Gensel, because believe me, if my team was the Canucks and we're having this amazing season that we are, even though we're going through some struggles at this time, I would want to build on that. I would want to go out and get as many pieces as I could to put together a really good team. But I think right now you should be content with the overall roster you have, even though if you add Gensel to this team, you'd be a super team. But I think that the top 6 overall is pretty great as it is. So I would just keep that as is, personally.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on from all the news and stuff and get into some fun games. So Jack has no idea what these are. But we're going to start off with Jack's game. Jack's Guess a Player. So currently we are 0-0. This is our first time starting this in the new year. It's going to be me this time, just me predicting. I have 6 questions combined with me, and I have to guess Jack's player that he's thinking of. Normally I do this with Carter, but obviously Carter is not here. So, Jack, are you thinking of a player?
I have my player.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with, is your player in the Eastern Conference?
No.
Okay, so we're looking at a Western team here. Is your player in the Pacific Division?
No.
Okay, so we're looking at a Central Division team here. So I got to be very careful now. So let's look at the Central Division real quick. All right, so we got 8 teams. Jack, is your player on an... Hang on. Is your player on a playoff team currently? So it would either be Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado, or Nashville?
No.
No. Okay, so that narrows it down to 4. So that's Minnesota, bottom 4. All right. Jack, is your player... I'm up to 3 questions. Is your player... Is your player on a team that made the playoffs last year?
No.
I'm at 4. Is your player on a team? Is your player on the Blackhawks?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, that narrows it down. So I got 2 more questions. Let's go to the Blackhawks roster here. I'm not surprised because it's Jack's favorite team. So
I haven't done the Blackhawks since I think the first episode.
He hasn't, and I mean it's been a while since we've actually done one of these because we completely forgot about it. Plus, you have.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the roster real quick. So, I'll get my 5th question out of the way. Is your player a forward?
Yes.
Okay, so that Jesus God, there's so many forwards. It's okay. All right. Is your player American? We'll get my last question with that.
I think so. Hang on. Yes, American.
All right, so that eliminates Bedard. That's good to know.
Yep.
That's what I was like thinking. Like, is he going with Bedard? But I don't want to. All right. I got 1 guess. Okay. All right. We're gonna go for it. Jack, is your player? And I'm not gonna be really mad because I only have it's only me. Is your player Colin Blackwell?
No.
All right. What was your player?
Nick Foligno.
Okay. I was looking at Foligno. I was thinking about it, but nope. All right.
I love him.
Okay. Well, it's time for me to quiz you. Jack gets a player. That was fun. So I'll get Carter to go back and get that clipped. So, Jack, last Saturday, Mika Kiprazov got his jersey retired by the Calgary Flames. He is the 4th Flames player to get his jersey retired. Okay. I'm going to give you 1 minute to guess the other 3 players that the Flames have retired. So I want you to think back to the good old days where the Calgary Flames were solid. Actually, I'll give you a minute 30. That's more fair. I'll give you 90 seconds. So start thinking. All right, ready, set, go.
Oh gosh, I know 1 for sure, but
so you got Kiprusoff. You can just spitball him to me. He's really thinking hard right now, guys.
You said 90s?
Think back to 90s, early 2000s. Just think about really good Flames players and just start listing them off. All right, you're down to 50 seconds. I'll give you a hint. One of them is a goalie. yikes, this is rough.
I know 2 for sure.
Just say them to me then.
Okay, Jerome Ignala.
All right, Iginla's one of them. Yep, number 12.
The one you named.
Okay, that Kiprasov. So you got 2 out of 4.
Kiprasov. I did not know who that was. Goalie.
20 seconds. And 10 seconds. Yeah, he's done for. All right, your time is up. Yeah, that was a brutal one. I figured you would know some of these players. You got Lanny McDonald, number 9.
Okay, yep.
And then
got that.
I didn't think you would have known this guy, but Mike Vernon, number 30.
No, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
I could have gotten McDonald.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so you lost that one. That was a rough one for you. So I'm gonna give you another one. This one's interesting. You have to try and rank these 8 teams based on the amount of overtime wins they have over the course of their entire franchise history. So
Okay.
I am sending you the teams right now on Snapchat.
Okay.
So just get prepared for that. And I'm going to give you some hints. Try and think of how long these teams have been around for and try and base it off of that because that will help you a lot. So
this is overtime wins in their whole franchise's history.
Yes. And you don't have a time limit, so you can just have at it. All right, I've sent you the teams. I think that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I do 9 by accident? Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, no. I definitely listed a team twice. Oh, yeah, I listed the Predators twice. So you got those 8 teams. Try and rank them. You can rank them from 1 to 8 or 8 to 1. It doesn't matter to me, but you have unlimited time to do this. So go. And I'll give you, and I'll say this. Think about how long they've been around for and say them to me on here. You don't have to type them on here.
Okay, I was typing. I was like, what am I doing? All right. Number 1, I'm going to go Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm going to go New York. No. Number 2, I'm going to go Detroit Red Wings.
Okay.
Number 3, I'm going to go New York Rangers.
All right.
Number 4, Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
Number 5, LA Kings.
All right.
Number 6, Nashville Predators.
Okay.
Number 7, Dallas Stars.
All right.
And number 8, the Sharks.
Okay. How do you feel you did?
I think I did okay. I think the top is pretty interchangeable with the 3 original 6 teams.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll start off here. So number 1, you got right, Montreal. They had 275. Number 2, you almost got it wrong, but then you swapped yourself, so you got it right.
Oh,
Detroit.
sweet.
Detroit with 269. Number 3 is the Rangers. You were right there, 264. Number 4 is the Oilers with 234. So you got
what
that
right.
right.
What did I say at 4?
You said the Oilers. So you're 4
okay.
for 4. 4 for 8
Oh,
so far.
sick.
Number 5 is the Kings with 233. And then unfortunately you got Nashville and Dallas wrong. They were swapped the other way. When you think about it, you gotta factor in the Minnesota North Stars time too.
Right.
You probably didn't think about that.
No.
And actually, if you had Dallas ranked either 5 or 6 and LA ranked 5 or 6, you would have gotten it right because they both have the same amount. So
oh my gosh,
it's unfortunate, but Dallas would have been at 6 with 233, LA 233 as well. Nashville had 198, and then San Jose 188. So
okay, that's pretty good.
There. Yeah, you did okay. You did okay. I'll give it to you. You did all right. So that's actually all I got. Those are all the games that I have for you. So nice little short episode here. I do want to apologize to the fans. Usually this would be our trade deadline preview, but obviously Carter's not here. And this obviously was on a short-term basis. It's only 2 days away from the trade deadline. It sucks the way this went, but kind of have to go with it this year. So we apologize from the NordCast crew. We will be better. So in the next episode, we will be back with Carter, hopefully, and Jack, with a full crew. And we will be talking about all the trades that happened, grading each team's trade deadline, tier ranking them as well. So it should be a very fun, fulfilling episode, and we will have some games with you. So anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe down below if you're on the YouTube end of things. If you're listening, give us a good review. Tell your friends about the podcast and give all that good stuff. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, you can follow us on, I believe the @ is @NordCast_. So look that up on your Instagram and follow us. If you also want to follow my main Instagram, it's Nordic97_IG. If you want to follow us on TikTok, you can follow the NordCast. I think it's NordCast_ as well, I believe. Let me go take a look real quick. I should probably know this on hand, but I believe it is NordCast_. It's just NordCast. So it's just NordCast. Just look up @NordCast, and you got it. So yeah, that'll do it for us. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Adios.
Peace.